स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः। असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मामृतङ्गमय। Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let us offer our salutations to Sri Ramakrishna, the embodiment of all religions, the Supreme God Incarnate, who came to establish universal religion. Let us pray to Him to lead us from the unreal to the real, to lead us from the darkness of ignorance to the light of knowledge, to lead us from death to immortality. Today's topic I have chosen from the Gospel: uproot the seedling of bad habits before it becomes a tree. Neighbor asked a question to Sri Ramakrishna. Sir, is it ever possible to realize God while leading the life of a householder? Sri Ramakrishna replied, certainly. But as I said just now, one must live in holy company and pray unceasingly. One should weep for God. When the impurities of the mind are thus washed away, one realizes God. The mind is like a needle covered with mud, and God is like a magnet. The needle cannot be united with the magnet unless it is free from mud. Tears wash away the mud. It is nothing but lust, anger, greed, and other evil tendencies, and the inclination to worldly enjoyments as well. As soon as the mud is washed away, the magnet attracts the needle. That is to say, man realizes God. Only the pure in heart see God. A fever patient has an excess of the watery element in his system. What can quinine do for him unless that is removed? Why shouldn't one realize God while living in the world? But, as I said, one must live in holy company, pray to God, weeping for His grace, and now and then go into solitude. And now Sri Ramakrishna tells very significant statement. Unless the plants on a footpath are protected at first by fences, they are destroyed by cattle. Then the neighbor asked, then householders too will have the vision of God, won't they? Sri Ramakrishna said, everybody will surely be liberated, but one should follow the instructions of the Guru. If one follows a devious path, one will suffer in trying to retrace one's steps. It takes a long time to achieve liberation. A man may fail to obtain it in this life. Perhaps he will realize God only after many births. Sages like Janaka performed worldly duties. They performed them, bearing God in their minds, as a dancing girl dances, keeping jars or trays on her head. Haven't you seen how the women in northwest India walk, talking and laughing, while carrying water pitchers on their heads? Neighbor asked, you just refer to the instructions of the Guru. How shall we find him? Sri Ramakrishna replied, anyone and everyone cannot be a Guru. A huge timber floats on the water and can carry animals as well. But a piece of worthless wood sinks if a man sits on it and drowns him. Therefore, in every age, God incarnates Himself as the Guru to teach humanity. Chidananda alone is the Guru. What is knowledge? And what is this nature of this ego? God alone is the doer and none else. That is knowledge. I am not the doer. I am a mere instrument in his hand. Therefore I say, O Mother, thou art the operator and I am the machine. Thou art the indweller and I am the house. Thou art the driver and I am the carriage. I move as thou movest me. I do as thou makest me do. I speak as thou makest me speak. Not I, but thou. So, one has to be careful about the habits, what type of habits we cultivate in our life. That determines our future life. Once a father had 3 sons whom he feared were going astray. They were beginning to partake of alcohol, drugs, and other activities of which their father did not approve. Every time he approached them, they said, "No problem, Dad. We have total control. We can stop whenever we want to." But they were talking, that's all. But they continued to do what they have been doing. The father, however, was quite wise. One day he gathered the 3 sons. He gathered them together and took them into the backyard. He pointed to a small sprout coming up out of the ground. He told one of his sons, "Uproot that sprout." The son looked surprised at the order, but he reached down and pulled the seedling easily out of the ground. Then the father pointed out to a small bush growing by the side of the garden. "Pull up this bush," the father told his second son. The bush was not huge, but still its roots were firm in the ground. The son had to reach his arms around the bush and pull hard to uproot it. Finally, he succeeded and showed his father the empty hole in the earth where the bush had once grown. Lastly, the father pointed to a large tree. He ordered his last son, the biggest and strongest of all, "Uproot this tree." The son looked at his father in dismay. "But father," he said, "you know, one cannot just uproot a tree with one's bare hands." The father insisted, "Just try it, you are strong." So the youth pulled and pulled with all his might, but the tree did not even budge. His brothers came to help him. Together they pulled and pulled and pulled until their faces were red and hot and their arms ached, but still the tree did not move at all. Finally, they gave up. "See," said the father, "when something is new, barely a sapling, it is easy to uproot. But let it grow into a tree with its roots firmly in the ground, and you will never be able to pull it up again." It is the same with your drugs and alcohol and reckless ways. Abandon them now when they are saplings and small bushes. You will have to work only a little. But do not be ignorant or overconfident and let them grow their roots into you, or you will never be able to rid yourself of them. In our lives, we frequently put off ending our bad habits until tomorrow. We will start a new diet tomorrow. We will begin to exercise tomorrow. We will stop eating meat and other non-veg products tomorrow. We will end the relationship which we know is not right for us tomorrow. Everything tomorrow. However, unfortunately, tomorrow rarely comes, and if it does, it is frequently too late. Mostly people are in this condition, that's why they are suffering and suffering. In spite of great philosophy and religion. Without the commission from God, Sri Ramakrishna said, a man becomes vain. He says to himself, I am teaching people. This vanity comes from ignorance. For only an ignorant person feels that he is a doer. A man really becomes liberated in life if he feels God is the doer, he alone is doing everything, I am doing nothing. Man's suffering and worries spring only from his persistent thought that he is the doer. You people speak of doing good to the world. Is the world such a small thing? And who are you, pray, to do good to the world? First realize God. See Him by means of spiritual discipline. If He imparts power, then you can do good to others, otherwise not. A Brahma devotee asked a question. Then, sir, we must give up our activities until we realize God? Sri Ramakrishna said, no, why should you? You must engage in such activities as contemplation, singing His praises, and other daily devotions. Brahma asked further, but what about our worldly duties? Duties associated with our earning money, and so on. Sri Ramakrishna answered, yes, you can perform them too, but only as much as you need for your livelihood. At the same time, you must pray to God in solitude, with tears in your eyes, that you may be able to perform those duties in an unselfish manner. You should say to Him, O God, make my worldly duties fewer and fewer. Otherwise, O Lord, I find that I forget Thee when I am involved in too many activities. I may think I am doing unselfish work, but it turns out to be selfish. People who carry to excess the giving of alms or the distributing of food among the poor fall victims to the desire of acquiring name and fame. Shambhu Malik once talked about establishing hospitals, dispensaries and schools, making roads, digging public reservoirs and so forth. I said to him, don't go out of your way to look for such works. Undertake only those works that present themselves to you and are of pressing necessity, and those also in a spirit of detachment. It is not good to become involved in many activities that makes one forget God. Coming to Kali temple, some perhaps spend their whole time in giving alms to the poor. They have no time to see the mother in the inner shrine. It is said beautifully, sow a thought, reap an action. Sow an action, reap a habit. Sow a habit, reap a trait. Sow a trait, reap a character. Sow a character, reap a destiny. Beautiful statement. We must never allow ourselves to entertain a wrong thought for even a minute. Send it out of your mind like you swat a fly in a house. Nor must we allow ourselves to engage in actions which we know are wrong for even a moment. Before the moment is over, our actions will have become habits. We must guard our destiny, and therefore our characters, like a vigilant guard, protects a castle, allowing no mischievous intruders to enter. However, it is not only bad habits which we must uproot, it is also our ego. In yajna, one of the most beautiful meanings relates to our own egos. Our egos are also like the seed of a tree. If we water it, nourish it and let it grow, it will dig its roots into us and be nearly impossible to uproot later. One of the key messages of a spiritual path is to annihilate the ego, to become humble, to surrender oneself to God. However, if the ego's roots have a tenacious grip on us, it is very difficult to be free. However, if one roasts a seed before planting it, then no matter how much it is nourished or watered, it will never grow. Therefore, we offer the seed of our ego to God in the yajna, so that He may burn our ego, so that no matter how much it is watered and nourished by the praise, glory and success we achieve in life, it will never be able to grow and grip our lives. Sri Ramakrishna refers to this and tells, once a salt dove went to measure the depth of the ocean. No sooner did it enter the water than it melted. Now, who could tell how deep the ocean was? That which could have told about its depth had melted. Reaching the seventh plane, the mind is annihilated. Man goes into samadhi. What he feels then cannot be described in words. The eye that makes one a worldly person and attaches one to lust and gold is the wicked eye. The intervention of this ego creates the difference between Jiva and Atman. Water appears to be divided into two parts if one puts a stick across it. But in reality, there is only one water. It appears as two on account of the stick. This eye is the stick. Remove the stick and there remains only one water as before. Now what is this wicked eye? It is the ego that says, what? Don't they know me? I have so much money. Who is wealthier than I? If a thief robs such a man of only 10 rupees, first of all he wrings the money out of the thief. Then he gives him a good beating. But the matter does not end there. The thief is handed over to the police and is eventually sent to jail. The wicked eye says, what? Doesn't the rogue know whom he has robbed? To steal my 10 rupees? How dare he? These are the words of Sri Ramakrishna in the Gospel. Master said, it is true that one or two can get rid of the eye through samadhi, but these cases are very rare. You may indulge in thousands of reasonings, but still eye comes back. You may cut the people tree to the very root today, but you will notice a sprout springing up tomorrow. Therefore, if the eye must remain, let the rascal remain as a servant eye. As long as you live, you should say, O God, thou art the master and I am thy servant. The eye that feels I am the servant of God, I am his devotee, does not injure one. Sweet things cause acidity of the stomach, no doubt, but sugar candy is an exception. The path of knowledge is very difficult. One cannot obtain knowledge unless one gets rid of the feeling that one is the body. In the Kali Yuga, the life of man is centered on food. He cannot get rid of the feeling that he is the body and the ego. Therefore, the path of devotion is prescribed for this cycle. This is an easy path. You will attain God if you sing His name and glories and pray to Him with a longing heart. There is not the least doubt about it. Suppose you draw a line on the surface of water with a bamboo stick. The water appears to be divided into two parts, but the line does not remain for any length of time. The servant eye or the devotee eye or the child eye is only a line drawn with the ego and is not real. So, the gist of all these teachings is that you should not give room for any of the bad habits to take over you. You should never fall victim to habits. Uproot the seedling of bad habits before it becomes a tree. So that is the theme. How true it is. That's why young age is considered a very important period of life. And that is the period where we have to clearly cultivate good habits that can save our life. So both suffering and happiness lie in our hands. It depends upon how we cultivate habits. Page 900. Sri Ramakrishna recited the following song of Ram Prasad. Come, let us go for a walk, O mind, to Kali the wish-fulfilling tree, and there beneath it gather the four fruits of life. When we learn to lie, O mind, in the abode of blessedness, with cleanliness and defilement on either side of you, only when you have found the way to keep your wives contently under a single roof, Will you behold the matchless form of Mother Shyama? Shambasu. Sir, what remains after one throws away both thorns? Masters replied, Nitya Shuddha Buddha Bodha Rupam. Nitya Shuddha Bodha Rupam. The eternal and ever pure. Eternal and ever pure consciousness. How can I make it clear to you? Suppose a man who has never tasted ghee asks you, what does ghee taste like? Now, how can you explain that to him? At the most you can say, what is ghee like? It is just like ghee. A young girl asked her friend, well friend, your husband is here. What sort of pleasure do you enjoy with him? The friend answered, my dear, you will know it for yourself when you get a husband. How can I explain it to you? It is said in the Purana that Bhagavati, the Divine Mother, was once born as the daughter of King Himalaya. After her birth, she showed her father her many forms. The Lord of the Mountains, after enjoying all these visions, said to the Divine Mother, may I have the vision of Brahman as it is described in the Vedas? Then the Divine Mother answered, Father, if you want to have the vision of Brahman, you must live in the company of holy men. What Brahman is cannot be described in words. Somebody once said that everything in the world has been made impure, like food that has touched the tongue, and that Brahman alone remains undefiled. The meaning is this: all scriptures and holy books, the Vedas, the Puranas, the Tantras and so forth, may be said to have been defiled because their contents have been uttered by the tongues of men. But when Brahman is known, tongue has yet been able to describe. But what Brahman is, no tongue has yet been able to describe. Therefore, Brahman is still undefiled. One cannot describe in words the joy of play and communion with Sachidananda. He alone knows who has realized it. Addressing Dr. Sarkar, Sri Ramakrishna continued, look here, one cannot attain knowledge unless one is free from egotism. There is a saying, when shall I be free? When I shall cease to be. I and mine, that is ignorance. Thou and thine, that is knowledge. A true devotee says, O God, thou alone art the doer, thou alone dost all. I am a mere instrument. I do as thou makest me do. All these wealth, possessions, nay, universe itself belong to you. This house and these relatives are thine alone, not mine. I am thy servant, mine is only the right to serve you according to your bidding. Those who have read a few books cannot get rid of conceit. Once I had a talk with Krishna Tagore about God. At once he said, I know all about that. I said to him, does a man who has visited Delhi brag about it? Does a gentleman go about telling everyone that he is a gentleman? Shyam said, but Krishna Tagore has great respect for you. Master said, oh, how vanity turns a person's head. There is a scavenger woman in the temple garden at Dakshineshwar, and her pride, and all because of a few ornaments. One day few men were passing her on the path, and she shouted to them, hey, get out of the way, you people. If a scavenger woman could talk that way, what can one say about the vanity of others? Shyam said, sir, if God alone does everything, how is it that man is punished for his sins? Master said, how like a goldsmith you talk. Narendra. In other words, Shyam Babu has a calculating mind, like a goldsmith who weighs things with his delicate balance. Master said, I say, oh my foolish boy, Eat the mangoes and be happy. What's the use of your calculating how many hundreds of trees, how many thousands of branches, and how many millions of leaves there are in the orchard? You have come to the orchard to eat mangoes. Eat them and be contented. To Sham, Sri Ramakrishna said, you have been born in this world as a human being to worship God. Therefore try to acquire love for His lotus feet. Why do you trouble yourself to know 100 other things? What will you gain by discussing philosophy? Look here, 1 ounce of liquor is enough to intoxicate you. What's the use of you trying to find out how many gallons of liquor there are in the tavern? Doctor said, quite so. And what is more, the wine in God's tavern is beyond all measure. There is no limit to it. Master said to Sham, why don't you give your power of attorney to God? Rest all your responsibilities on Him. If you entrust an honest man with your responsibilities, will He misuse His power over you? God alone knows whether or not He will punish you for your sins. Doctor said, God alone knows what is in His mind. How can a man guess it? God is beyond all our calculations. Master said to Sham, that's the one theme of you Calcutta people. You all say God is stained by the evil of inequality because He has made one person happy and another miserable. What these rascals see in themselves, they see in God too. Aim used to come to the temple garden at Dakshineshwar. Whenever he chanced to meet me, he would say, well, priest, there is only one thing worth having in this world, and that is honor. Isn't that so? Very few indeed say that the goal of human life is the realization of God. Sham said, we hear a great deal about the subtle body. Can anyone show it to us? Can anyone demonstrate that the subtle body, when a man dies, leaves the gross body and goes away? Master said, true devotees don't care a rap about showing you these things. What do they care whether some fool of a big man respects them or not? The desire to have a big man under their control never enters their mind. I shall stop here. Any questions? Chant the name of the Lord and His glory unceasingly, that the mirror of the heart may be wiped clean and quenched that mighty forest fire, worldly lust raging furiously within. O name streamed down in moonlight on the lotus heart, opening its cup to knowledge of thyself. O self, drowned deep in the waves of His bliss, tasting His nectar at every step, bathing in His name that bath for weary souls. Various are thy names, O Lord, in each and every name thy power resides. No times are set, no rites are needful for chanting of thy name. So vast is thy mercy, how huge then is my wretchedness, who find in this empty life and heart no devotion to thy name. O my mind, be humbler than a blade of grass, be patient and forbearing like a tree, take no honor to thyself, give honor to all, chant unceasingly the name of the Lord. O Lord and soul of the universe, mine is no prayer for wealth or retinue. The playthings of lust or the toys of fame. As many times as I may be reborn, grant me, O Lord, a steadfast love for thee. A drowning man in this world's fearful ocean is thy servant, O sweet one. In thy mercy, consider him as just beneath thy feet. Ah, how I long for the day when an instant's separation from thee, O Lord, will be as 1,000 years, when my heart burns away with his desire, and the world without thee is a heartless void. Prostrate at thy feet let me be, in unwavering devotion, neither imploring the embrace of thine arms, nor bewailing the withdrawal of thy presence, though it tears my soul asunder. O thou who stillest the hearts of thy devotees, do with me what thou wilt, for thou art my heart's beloved, thou and thou alone. O Lord, lead us from the unreal to the real, lead us from darkness to light, and lead us from death to immortality. May all be free from dangers, may all realize what is good, may all be actuated by noble thoughts, may all rejoice everywhere. May all be happy. May all be free from disease. May all realize what is good. May none be subject to misery. May the wicked become virtuous. May the virtuous attain tranquility. May the tranquil be free from bonds. May the freed make others free. May good betide all people. May the sovereign righteously rule the earth. May all beings ever attain what is good. May the world be prosperous and happy. May the clouds pour rain in time. May the earth be blessed with crops. May all countries be freed from calamity. May holy men live without fear. May the Lord, the destroyer of sins, the presiding deity of all sacred works, be satisfied. For he being pleased, the whole universe becomes pleased. He being satisfied, the whole universe feels satisfied.